Hey guys, this is Jim K from StairwayToVideo.com with another one of my video tips. Today, I'm still talking about this DJI Osmo Pocket. This thing has been a game changer for me as far as doing video and having something small and compact, being able to take it with you, and it's just incredible, especially since they've got some features inside here on this small little screen that you don't have to plug it into your phone. Now, when they first came out with it, to do some updated pro settings, you had to plug it into your phone or a tablet or something, and that's how you were able to change the settings. Now, with this newest firmware update they just did a week or two ago, you can get some pretty powerful results right in this tiny little screen right on the Osmo Pocket. So anyway, I got to thinking, boy, now that I'm able to shoot some cinematic features because the most recent update gave you a D-Cine-like mode, so you can shoot it in a flat profile and then you can colorize it later. I said, wouldn't it be great if I had some polarizing filters to be able to really take it to the next step? So at the same time I'm thinking about that, doesn't PolarPro reach out to me and send me 2 full packages of PolarPro filters? They've got the ND 4, 8, and 16, which also come with the circular polarizer built right in. Then they sent me the 3264 with no polarizing filter, and then the 32 ND 64 ND with the polarizer built in. So I said, boy, oh boy, this is going to take me to the next level. So anyway, that's what this video is all about. So let's get into this test using these new PolarPro filters that I just received. Come on, let's get started. Okay, this is why filters are important. The way the Osmo Pocket works is the brighter it is outside, the faster the shutter speed it's going to pick automatically. And the issue with that is then normally when the shutter speed is so fast, you're going to have darker areas where you don't want them, or you're going to have really super bright areas in other places when you're trying to expose, say, for a person. So what the darker neutral density filters do is they bring down your ISO to where you want it, they bring down your shutter speed to where you want it, and it keeps everything clear across the board. So your skies look bluer, your people are going to be exposed correctly, and that's basically why you need a neutral density filter. So in order to get good video by using a filter, you have to do what's called use the 180 degree rule, which basically is, so say you're shooting in 30 frames per second. You want to double that 30 to 60, and you put a 1 over it, so it's 1 over 60, so 1/60 of a second shutter speed is what you want. And that's what they found out gives you good motion blur in your picture that looks normally like your eye would see it. If you go with a really super fast shutter speed, then everything's going to be kind of staticky or staccato, and it's not going to look correctly. Plus, the exposure for the sky and stuff like that is not going to look good. So let's show an example. So here's a porch scene outside. If you look close, it's shooting in automatic mode right over there. Because it's bright out, the shutter speed is set for 1/640th of a second. That's way too high. I want to shoot this in 30 frames a second. So at 30 frames a second, I really need to change it to 1/60th of a second shutter speed. So here's what we need to do. Go into the PolarPro app. Once you're in there, you can see that my target is 30 frames a second, 1/60th of a second shutter speed. So we want to scroll down here and change what our current shutter is. Remember, it was 1/640th of a second? That's telling us to select a neutral density 8 filter. And once we've chosen that filter, we can pop it on the front of our Osmo Pocket, and then we can change the other settings to get them down to our ideal settings. Now look, already the shutter speed has gone down to 1/100th of a second from 1/640th of a second just by putting that filter on. Okay, switch over to manual mode, and now you can get your shutter speed down to 1/60th of a second and take your ISO out of automatic and put it into 100 ISO. Now in post-processing, you can start messing around with colorizing your footage. Let me tell you why I really like these neutral density filters from PolarPro. Number one, they've got an aluminum frame. They're not plastic, so they're lightweight. Number two, the Cinema Series glass has the lowest refractive index available and a hyper-neutral color profile. 3. The lenses have 16 layers of anti-reflective, anti-oil, and anti-water coatings. Number 4. The magnetic design snaps onto the Osmo Pocket lens and holds up to a 35 mph force. Number 5. The circular polarizers turn smooth, work amazing, especially on blue skies, water, and glass reflections. Number 6. Because of their light weight, they won't interfere with the Osmo Pocket's gimbal mechanism. Number 7. It's a US-based company, based in California. And number 8. The magnets won't scratch the Osmo Pocket's lens. Taking the glare and reflections off of a vehicle in a very overcast day. Okay, look at all the glare on the front of this truck. It's pretty bad, and I don't want that on there for my video or for my picture, my photograph. So, while we're looking at this, it says 1/400th of a second shutter speed. The ISO is 100, which is good. So let's put this in the PolarPro app and take a look at it. All right, so this is saying if our actual shutter speed at the moment is 1/400th and we want to have 30 frames a second, 1/60th of a second shutter speed, we need to pick a neutral density number 8 filter. So let's do that right now. I'm going to shut the Osmo Pocket off so that I can change this over to manual. So let's do that. Change this over to manual. Boom. All right, it's already set up for 100 and 1/60th of a second. So let's put this filter on without dropping it here. All right, clicked into place. Manual. So let's turn this on. All right, so we're at 1/60th, ISO 100. And let's turn the filter. Let me rotate this filter. And boom, there we go. So here's a nice shot in automatic mode, but the problem is I'm at 1/1600th of a shutter speed. So I'm going to put on a neutral density 32 on here. Okay, that immediately brings down the shutter speed to 1/80th of a second. Yeah, 1/80th of a second, which should be 1/60th. So let's turn the polarizing filter and see what happens. There we go. That's a better shot. Before I finish up here, I want to give a huge shout out to PolarPro for sending these to me. As a disclaimer, I got no compensation for doing this video, but they did send me these filters for free. Again, thank you PolarPro for sending these filters to me. I also want you guys to see what nice cases these come in. I know I showed them in part of the video, but these cases are really kind of cool. They've got magnets on the corners, so when you shut them, you don't need to worry about pinching them together to hold it. It's going to hold solid. And these rubberized inserts are fantastic for holding the filters in place. I don't know if you can see it or not on the camera, but they're all rubberized and they hold these filters in place really nice. So what I do to take them out, I slide them off to the side, and when I put them back in, I kind of pinch the filter down from the top. I don't try to slide it back in again, but you can do it any way you want to. But these cases are really nice. I also only used 30 frames per second when I did my video. But you can do it in any frame rate you want as long as you double it the way I showed you. So if you want to shoot in 24 frames a second, you can double it to 1/48th or 1/50th of a second shutter speed. Same thing if you wanted to do it a little bit higher. Say you wanted to video in 60 frames a second. You can double it to 1/120th of a second shutter speed. So it doesn't just work for what I did, 30 frames a second. You can do it at any frame rate you want using that 180-degree shutter rule. Another item I wanted to talk to you about is this Minimalist case by PolarPro that I received also. The great thing I like about it is, unlike the case you get from DJI, which you can't hold any accessories in it, this guy has got a bunch of room. Now, it's not huge, but so you've got enough room to put your Osmo Pocket in, the little clip for your contact with your phone. I've got this controller wheel attached to mine. There's a spot for the wireless module and stand. And then inside here, got a space. I keep my charging cable and a spare SD card in here. Anyway, I think it's a great item to have as an accessory. So it's got kind of a fairly semi-hard fabric case to it. So it should protect your Osmo Pocket pretty good. After using these filters for the past few days, I would have no problem highly recommending them to anybody who wants to get better cinematic video for themselves or for the production and putting things on, say, YouTube. They really have been amazing as far as taking the glare off of my vehicle, getting more blues in the sky, or just making your steps using the Osmo Pocket with these filters just a lot more amazing and more cinematic. So anyway, thanks for taking the time to stick by and watch my video. All the items I talked about today will be down in the description below, and I've got one last little clip for you to watch before you go. Again, if you like this video, please subscribe, give me a big thumbs up, and have a great day.